We're here outside of the Navajo Army Depot doing a refresh from our October trains, planes, and the status quo. In light of the recent derailments and the horrific release of chemicals and exposure, our heart goes out to all the peoples affected by this, the communities, the employees, everybody. There's no winners in these kinds of situations, and looking at it from a practical perspective can help fuel the remedy. Hi, and welcome to Yeti at Large. This is a channel focused on making the most out of what you have, no matter where you're at. Thanks for tuning in and helping out. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the awesome power, size, and speed of these machines. And some of the amazing artwork. If you're not intimidated and frightened by those things, you're not paying attention. When they're moving, when they're standing still, when they're being loaded or unloaded, and when businesses are deciding how they're going to run them through your neighborhood. We only got a couple of minutes before another train will be coming along here soon. This east-west rail running along Interstate 40 is one of the busiest rail corridors in the country, I argue. A lot of news lately with the railway strike and supply chain angles, but think of it from a public safety perspective. One of the big issues was centered around automation and crew size. I come from a railway family, and I'm in close communications while I was in public safety with many railway workers. Those folks are under a tremendous amount of pressure. They're highly professional, highly trained, very skilled, very capable, and responsible for a machine moving at freeway speeds that's net weight heavier than an aircraft carrier sometimes with the length of some of these trains. The challenges that they face range from fires to mechanical issues, obviously derailments and accidents. They have serious security and clearance issues, some of the chemicals and components that they haul. Then you've got these passengers that want to get on trains or get off trains or get in front of trains and get under trains. It happens all the time. If I had 2 cents to add to the negotiations for the union contract for railway, I would definitely want a minimum of 2 professionals operating that, the engineer and the conductor. I know there's some title, but just like a commercial jet, you want no less than 2 people in the cab of the engines up front running that thing, if for no other reason than to think about the workload and what happens when you have to stop the train on the tracks. The railways don't like that. I've heard some absurd figures of how much money it costs them to stop a large freight train, and many times in public safety we had to, whether somebody got in front of the train and under the train, or a vehicle, or somebody was on the train and we had to get them off of it. I've heard estimates of $10,000 a minute to stop these freight trains. If you're in the know and you're aware of that, will you please put a comment below and give us some kind of accurate figure? It'd be interesting to see, albeit I'm certain it's incredibly expensive. These trains are dangerous when they're moving, but they're very dangerous when they're sitting still. There are 2 tracks here side by side. I'll get you some different shots in a minute. And there are trains constantly moving in opposite directions. And in the corners of these things, these trains will lean. Sometimes it's amazing. I did not like being next to a train when it was stopped. I didn't like having to get on them to get people off of them. Just all around terrible. If you want to look at the current supply chain issues and freight, obviously trains play a major role in that, but also look at it from a public safety perspective. My vote is for 2 trained professionals at all times in the engines on those things. And these people, they've got to work realistic work schedules. They've got to have days off. They've got to be able to use their vacation time. I don't want an engineer driving a 75,000 ton vehicle at freeway speeds, tired, exhausted, upset, or ill.
At this point, I kind of got overtaken by memories of events that I responded to at this exact location. It's not that they're the worst thing, but they sure do weigh a lot. I was also saved by the wind that ruined the recording. If the recording had gone on, I would have talked a lot about the intersectional jurisdiction of responsibilities relating to these trains and the cargo. Think about one hazardous item that they haul, the one that scares me the most, anhydrous ammonia. It's a common fertilizer, it's heavier than air, it's odorless and tasteless, and it's utterly lethal. The train companies have tremendous responsibilities, as do the manufacturers of the chemicals, as do the local public safety organizations, as do the political entities on the local, county, state, and federal level. And where all those intersect, there can be some real overlapping bureaucracies that can slow the response. Another train was coming along, so let's go look at some flowers instead and just marvel at how beautiful this little piece of prairie is. This is Old Route 66. It's closed, and as you can see, it's in bad repair, but it runs parallel to the train tracks, and it's a great place for train spotting. A lot of the engineers are aware of it. We're here at 7,000 feet. Those mountains top out at just under 13,000 feet. Watching these trains from an interstate, you realize how disastrous a derailment, a spill, any accident can be. It can have wide sweeping effects. These trains also run through metropolitan areas. Typically not the nicest neighborhoods, but this case in Flagstaff, it goes right downtown. You couldn't pay me to stand that close to a train. My granddad told me a story about a train he saw dragging a half-mile of fence behind it. Here's some more of that amazing artwork you see on the trains. Sure beautiful. I just ask you guys to take a deep breath, think about what's in these tanker cars, how business is being conducted, and try to humanize the people operating these heavy, expensive, and fast machines. Ironically, my mother gave me my great-granddad's railway watch a day before I filmed all this. It looks like the 310 is late to Yuma. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share this channel with a friend. We could use your support.